You can be either of the two. You probably took CAT 2024 and it did not work well. Or you thought that, hey, it's time for me to make my career in management. Let me begin my preparation for CAT. In both the cases, you are aiming for CAT 2025, which is going to happen 12 months from now. CAT 2024 is done and dusted. You must have read about it. You must have thought about it. You must have thought about yourself. But if you now want to go for a good B school later on, what you should do in next 12 months? Welcome to CAT 2025 1-year comprehensive timeline roadmap for you to prepare for this phenomenal exam. Let's take a look at our agenda for today. We will focus on when to start. Very interesting question. I'm sure all of you have it. We'll discuss that. And very quantitatively, we are going to deal with that. Then another burning question, whether you should go for self-study or not. We are going to discuss that as well. I'll be offering many scenarios to you. And then you can decide what is best for you. Third thing is, what are the foundational skills that are needed for you to ace the 3 sections in CAT? We are going to deal with that as well. And fourth, we will talk about score boosters and where you can get the free material. I'll also talk about whether you are the right fit for CAT or not in this section. So just stay with me throughout this video and I guarantee that I'm going to answer all your questions. If still the questions are not answered, feel free to post them in comments and I'll answer it then. And why don't you subscribe to our channel meanwhile? Let's take a look at the very first thing, when to start CAT preparation. You can be of two types. Either you could be a fresher or you could be a repeater. Fresher and repeater simply means fresher in terms of that you are taking CAT for the first time. Repeater means you have already taken CAT. It has no relationship with your work experience. Okay. Now, when I say first timer or a fresher, it means when you are taking CAT seriously for the first time. Many people just fill the exam for the sake of it. They don't even prepare for that. Maybe their teachers sometimes ask them to do it, or they themselves feel that, let me take a feel of it. If you have already done that, then also you will be treated as a first timer because you did not actually prepare for CAT. Okay, just giving you a perspective, but because it is important for us to know our actual definition. Otherwise, these things might not benefit us. So if you are a first timer, you should start right away. For a first timer to really get a great score in a comfortable zone, it is advisable 1 year or 1 year to 3 months more, something like that. Plus minus 1 month is also okay. So maybe if you do not start right away, maybe 1 month after it, that's also cool. But this is the perfect time for anybody to start the CAT preparation. But if you are a repeater, again, it is a good idea to start right away. But still, if you can't, for whatever reason, then there is some categorization for you. So let's say you scored 80 percentile or less in the current CAT. How will you get to know about that? You will get to know about that when your response sheet is out, when you will upload that into the IMS portal, and they will pop out your predicted percentile for you. It will give you some idea. Plus minus 1-2 percentile can happen, that's okay. But if you think that you got 80 percentile or less, right away, same. You are no different from a first timer. 11 to 12 months before the exam. But let's say if you got more than 80, but less than 90, in that range, then I am going to give you maybe a month or two worth of break. This also could be possible because you might be taking some ADMATs, you might be taking some additional exams, and that also might really keep you from not going for CAT 2025 right away. This is the reason why I have reduced the timeline. Otherwise, if you have decided that you want to go for CAT 2025, if there is no emergency, start now. Third thing is, of course, 90 percentile or above. If 90 percentile or above, then of course, 8 to 9 months before the exam will also be okay. Again, when I say 90 percentile or above, I basically factor in that idea that those of you who are currently, say, at a 95 percentile, aiming to go for another ADMATs or GDPI preparation, that also might consume a lot of your time. So if you get a good college, you might go there. If you do not get a good college, you would want to go back to your CAT preparation for 2025. That is where. But as I said earlier, the best is now. Start right away. If you have taken the decision, start right away. The syllabus is quite a lot and you do not want to miss out on that. And if you do not start on time, what is it that can happen to you as far as delay is concerned? So if you're a fresher, then your college exam performance will be compromised, definitely. Small, limited time, of course, then you will have to deal with both the things. Your foundation would be quite fragile because it requires a lot of reading. It requires a lot of puzzle solving. You will have some problem on what type of MBA major you would want to do, because when you start in the beginning, then you have enough time to evaluate on various things. You connect with your mentors, you connect with your people and so on. But until you come onto the system and you get some good guidance, you will never be able to know how to deal with that. And of course, it's going to lead you into the loss of confidence and then of course a loss of a year. So better, if you want to go for MBA, if you want to make a career in that, why delay? And if you are a repeater, stakes are even high. Panic, career uncertainty, mera third attempt hai, mera second attempt hai. Oh my god, my age is going away and so on. All these things could be really playing with your mind negatively. You really do not want to be in that space. Again, of course, it's going to lead to loss of confidence. Most important thing is that if you delay a lot, if you are a repeater, then whatever you have acquired, our mind has a very evaporative tendency in that sort as far as competitive exams are concerned. So when we learn something, there is a good chance that it goes into a deep-seated memory or it gets evaporated. So it takes a bit of more time for you to bring that back, and you don't really want to be in that. A very simple example for that could be, let's say I ask you to learn a big chart of squares, roots, square root, cube root till 25, and you learn that. Currently you know that, but if you do not really keep on recalling that, then it will be lost. Then it will take again more time for you to do this thing. The speed that you have acquired in puzzle solving will also be compromised if you stop doing that, and that's why it is always a desirable idea to start right away. Okay, otherwise delays are high, stakes are high. So what is going to be the preparation timeline? I have taken the example of IMS modules, and that's what I'm going to share with you. Take a look at that and understand how the thought flow is going to happen. CAT 25 will happen on 30th of November, which is last Sunday of November. This time it was 24th of November. Now we have 30th of November this time. Here is a comprehensive timeline. Now just be with me and enjoy. December 24 to January 25. Let's say you start right away. December 24 to January 25. This is your step number 1. Just one sec. Let me see if it is. Yes, it should work. Yes, it is working. December 24 to Jan 2025. What you should do? As far as classroom is concerned, if you are part of the classroom, it's okay. If you're not part of the classroom, then also it's gonna work. Just giving you a perspective. This time is dedicated to completion of module 1. Module 1 for all 3 subjects. There are 3 subjects in it. One, VA, verbal aptitude. The other one is QA, quantitative aptitude. And the third one is DILR, data interpretation and logical reasoning. When I talk about module 1 contains some topics of verbal, quant and DILR. Your theory, your class exercise, your practice exercise, and there is a thing on our system which is called benchmarking test, which tests where you are standing on that chapter after you have completed that chapter. All these things for module 1 should be completed in this span of 1.5 to 2 months. When you reach January, maybe mid-January, so from say mid-January to February, what should you be doing? Your module 2 will be going on depending upon the pace of your program or your own personal pace. But more or less this has to be the timeline for module 2. February 25. You are doing module 2 here. Plus you are also doing module 1 revision. Revision doesn't take a lot of time, but it is important, especially for quants. If you don't do the revision for quants, then it gets evaporated. Then basically after 3 months, you are back to square one. You don't want to be there. Yes or no? February is gone. Then comes March. But before talking about March, I want to tell you something. So far, I have not even talked about the foundational skills. I said that, okay, foundational skills are needed. Arey, what will module 1, module 2 do if you do not have a strong foundation? How will you build that foundation? An interesting part of foundation building is doing a lot of reading. So you got to read 50 articles and 5 books. What 50 articles? Totally up to you. Various sources are there. I'll talk about the sources in the later section of this PPT. 5 books, any 5 books. You can just Google what are the top 10, 15, 20 books for MBA preparation, novels you can say, okay? And it will just pop out a list of various genre, fiction, non-fiction, both. That is what you have to complete. VARC is sorted. Along with that, you keep on doing the puzzles. Puzzles, I'll talk about that as well later on. This is, here I have not written the puzzles. Again, next month, next 2 months, I have reduced the number of articles for you. You know why? Sometimes it might so happen that you are preparing for some college exam, you might not get enough time, or things can go a bit here and there. That's absolutely okay. 50 articles simply means that every day you are reading 1 article, still you are left with 10 days. 30 articles in what? 1.5 months? Still doable. And 3 books. When you go to March 25, March to April, these 2 months, now your module 3 will be completed, but you have to go for module 2 revision. I have not talked about module 1 revision again. Module 2 revision only. And this is where you will take your pre-SIMCATs. Pre-SIMCATs are easier mocks which give you a first-hand experience of what the CAT might look like. Interesting, no? I tell you, if you follow this thing, nobody can stop you from achieving a 99 percentile. Now you might think, acha, if so many people are watching this video, are they all going to get 99 percentile? No, because not everybody will follow it word by word. But if you do, your job is done. Then you go to May. May, June, you have completed 6 months. In 6 months, you have done 50 plus 50, 100 plus 30, 130 articles, and 5 plus 3 plus 2, 10 books. Think about it, when you ever completed 10 novels in a span of 6 months? And if you think that for me, it has never ever been the case, take a look at the level of comprehension skills you would have developed in these 6 months. Can somebody ever take CAT away from you? No. Let's go to May, June. Now this is the time where your testing will also start to happen. We are going to release SIMCATs. SIMCATs are the mocks, the real, actual, proper mocks for CATs. Actually, they get released a bit before that, but I've just kept it here. So in May, June, you are going to do module 4. For some of you, it might complete before it as well. That's absolutely okay. Okay. You will now do module 1 revision. This is going to be your second module 1 revision. Now you will do module 2 revision. This is going to be your second module 2 revision also. Your job is done. And you will take 1 or 2 SIMCATs as and when they are scheduled. Then you will go to July, August. And this portion is basically dedicated to your revision. Module 3 revision, because this is not something we have done so far. Then we'll do module 4 revision. We have not done that as well. So 1 revision each of module 3 and 4 is done. Then we will do a comprehensive module 1 and 2 revision, because purana ho gaya na, it is old now, and we are going to take some SIMCATs. There are some additional sessions also that's going to happen if you are part of the classroom groups. So that's also going to happen somewhere around that. And then finally from September to November, September, October, November, 3 months. Some of you it could be 3 months, some of you it could be 2.5 months, depending upon when you are reaching this space. You will only be focusing on testing. I basically call this whole thing as, let's say, from December to April as learn, L-E-A-R-N. From this, a bit of this to say this is prep, P-R-E-P, preparation. Or instead of prep, let's call it practice, P-R-A-C-T-I-C-E, practice. And this I call as test, T-E-S-T. Learn, practice, test. Learn basically means you are acquiring your foundational skills in every sort. Practice means that you are focusing on revisions extensively. There is AI based set of questions that we are going to give you. So many things are there. I'll tell you how will you get to know that, but so many things are there. And finally, we are only going to focus on the testing. SIMCATs, previous year papers, and this masterclass, high level questions, which will ensure that you get a 99 percentile. Just focus on this thing and your job is done. By the way, our reading is still going on. 50 articles, now I've reduced the number of books. 40 articles, again one book. And there, only 20 articles, no books in last 3 months. Now you are going to focus on various RC and DILR sets. Very interesting, no? I want you to just pause this video, maybe take a screenshot of it and paste that in front of you wherever you sit and do your studies. This thing is going to regulate your entire next year. Follow it word by word and see the results. Let's take a look at the next thing. Should you go for self-study or not? Couple of factors are there which can help you decide that. Eventually it's your own decision, but I've decided, that I should give you at least 3 factors. One is finance, the other is time spent, the other one is habit. Let's take a look at finance. Finance simply means that it's an affordability issue. Maybe, it could be an affordability issue for you. I can't afford a classroom program. Now, in that case, sometimes online can be beneficial because sometimes, I'm not saying always, but for certain reasons, online programs at IMS, are at slightly lower cost. And of course, because, you are not going to spend a lot of money on the centers, electricity and so on. So you are going to do that. So maybe, we are passing that benefit to you. But ideally, I believe that affordability should not be a concern. See, kya hota hai? I agree that people have different level of money in their family. But the important thing is that if you want to prepare, eventually your life is going to become better. And there are so many people who are willing to help you if things come to that. And anyway, the courses are not very costly. So the point is that if affordability becomes the case, now please do not really risk your entire year on this idea. Please just have a word with the people who are near to you, your elders, your parents, you together will come up with a way. So that should be your least concern. And in that case also you have to still buy test series, and if you are buying test series and if you think that you need classroom program also, the difference will not be significant. Okay, so maybe with test series you already would have spent 20-30% of the money. So maybe 70 or 80 whatever percent of the money you have to pay. So some portion you still have to shell out. But you will feel very bad if you think that, I could have taken the coaching. But it all depends on you, whether you want to take coaching or not. There are some financial concerns, there are some other commitments also that you might have, but you can decide that. But once you take a decision, just stick with that. Ideally, finance should not be a concern. Second is the time spent. This actually can really help you decide whether you want to go for self-study or not, or whether offline or not. One is the availability of time. Depending upon your job or college, which time is your job. If your job is, say, in shifts and so on, so then you have to find out how much time you have. Now, how much time simply means that, if you really do not have a lot of time, then you might not want to travel a lot. In that case, online would be a preferable mode for you. But otherwise, if you think that, I can't travel a lot, I think, I need some personal attention, you can go for offline as well. But you have to think about the time availability, distance of your coaching from the source. Whether you want to go for a weekday or a weekday, what's your preference? There are some people, who join us who are from, refineries. They have shift-based jobs and their jobs are quite lengthy. Sometimes they go for self-study, sometimes they, come to us. But that is a very specific preference. But you have to decide for yourself very honestly. And then, of course, if you are at home, currently say, you are in a gap year, or if you are working from home, then it is always a good idea that you spend some time in coaching. Now that depends, whether you want to go for offline or online, or if you are engaged elsewhere. The point is that online generally gives you a bit of more time in terms of saving the travel time. But there are other factors also. What are the other factors? Your habits. Habits are, if you are easily distracted, how will you then be able to manage online? Then you have to go for offline, right? You want somebody to just, keep an eye on you. If your screen friendliness is really high, you can go for online. If your screen friendliness is not so much, then you can go for offline classes, right? Although there also you are going to study from these smart boards only, but the interesting thing is that at least you will be able to see a lot of people other than you. If there will be books in your hands. Eventually, you will still have to develop screen friendliness, because that is how, what the method of the actual CAT exam is. Then what is the level of your basic? So if your basic level is just quite low, then you might think that, okay, maybe classroom program can help me better. Or if you can manage all the instructions that are given on the online platform, great, go for it. If you think that I definitely need a group, physical group, then go for offline. But if you think that I can go for a group, but even if I don't see the people, that's absolutely okay, then you can go for online, right? So it really depends on your preference. Then the level of discipline, most important. Again, if you are self-motivated, online would be okay. If you're not so much, then offline is okay. And interesting thing is that mock series is still a must. You still will have to take it. So even if things are in any fashion for you, but you have to be aware of that I still have to come on board in some way or the other. And the better and the sooner you understand it, the better it is. Let's talk about the foundational skills which are needed for all three sections. Very important. Let's start with verbal ability and RC, VARC. The CAT portion is divided into two parts. One is RC, which contains 16 questions, and the other portion is called verbal ability, which contains 8 questions. In CAT 2024, para jumbers did not appear. Grammar and vocab doesn't appear directly ever in CAT. But more or less, these are the places from where you can get your RCs, reading comprehension passages. So what is the best thing for you? All these articles and all that stuff I said, these are the sources for you. Aeon, Guardian, New York Times, Project Syndicate, Arts and Letters Daily. This Arts and Letters Daily, it's like you can say, Uber of the article world. It's an article aggregator. So you click on it, it will take you to the respective page where the article is, and that page could be the Guardian, that page could be the Japan Times, that page could be the Hindu, right? In fact, what I have not written here is the Indian Express. Wonderful editorial section. You can definitely put that also in the list, the Indian Express. And then you have to work on your speed, vocabulary, etc. How will you work on your vocabulary? If you are currently starting, all these things are going to help you work on your vocabulary. Plus, there is a book called Word Power Made Easy. WORDPOWER. Word Power Made Easy by Norman Lewis. Norman Lewis. Word Power Made Easy by Norman Lewis. This book contains a couple of chapters and very interesting way of teaching that. But the first thing you should do is that in the beginning of this book, there are 2 tests, which are the tests of your current vocabulary. Take that and see where you are standing. And then begin from the very first chapter, read it, take the exercise, then next, read it, take the exercise, and so on. Somewhere around 45-47 sessions are there in it. So if you do one every day, then basically you will be able to cover that within month and a half. Interesting, na? But keep on doing that. The second thing is DILR, how you develop that idea. These are the various types of questions that are asked in it. DILR basically means data interpretation comes as a set, logical reasoning comes as a set, or can come as a caselet also. So these are various types of formats. I'm not asking you to do any of these things right now. I just want you to start solving puzzles. Puzzle solving is important. There is no fixed syllabus for it. It is all about understanding so much of information and aligning it on a paper. So solve the puzzles, Sudoku, Kakuro, Ken, brain teasers, chess, basically anything that can engage your mind. Solve it on a daily basis, just every day. And you'd see what magic is going to happen in a month. And finally, when I talk about quantitative ability, it's quite theoretical in terms of mathematics. Numbers and arithmetic is one portion, algebra, geometry, permutations, probability is another portion of it. And more or less, 10 to 12 questions are asked. What you should do? The only thing you should do right now here is to develop fast calculation skills. So what I want you to do, you can download that thing, okay? Just write on Google, give me a chart of square, square root, cube root, fractions and tables up to 25. Every day you spend 5 minutes on it, just take a look at that and then recall it. What is 12 square, what is 12 cube, what is 1 by 17 in percentage terms. You must learn that. The moment you do that, your calculation becomes faster and your score increases manifold. Cool? And the last thing, the boosters. There are 2 types of boosters. One is your profile booster. You have 1 month, 1 whole year with you. You have to work on your profile. The most important thing about your profile is college exam if you are currently in college. Do not risk those things at all. Extracurricular, of course. Do some certification. If you are a gap year student, then you must do that. And go for some internship or job. If you are already in the job, then you are already continuing that. The other thing is the building positive habits. Every single year, it's been so many years for me that I've been teaching this thing that, but lack of positive habits are going to take you away from your goal. Right from the beginning, go for a routinized living. It's not like, one day you're sleeping at 2 a.m., the other day you're sleeping at 11 p.m. and whatnot. Absolutely not. There is no point in becoming a night owl unless you are working in a shift-based organization. Do some yoga, some exercise, have good nutrition. Ensure the continuity. When you are preparing with continuity. 70% of the people to whom I say all these things do come to me every year and they say that, sir, I want to start from the scratch. Please help me. I'm absolutely lost. I want to crack CAT. I can't do anything about that. I still guide them, but then for them it becomes more painful because now you have to do more work in less time. You don't want to be in that space. So please just be aware of this thing. All these things that you have been doing so far, okay, I will just take 7 days or 10 days before my exams, I will just do well on that. Absolutely not. Stop doing it. Start your college preparation right away. Do it every day so that during the exams you do not have to let go of your CAT preparation, because if you do that even for a week or two, then a massive gap comes which becomes very difficult to cover up. And of course, read every single day. If you are not reading, nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to happen. तुम कर ही नहीं सकते crack CAT. Read. Perfect na? And finally, just test your fit. Test your fit simply means that, first of all, you should be able to see whether you think you are able to take CAT or not. Actually, everybody can take CAT. It's an easy exam. Okay? So for that, we have offered you something called IMS Zero Fee program. The other thing which you can test here is that whether we are providing good content to you or not. You have the right to do that. This is free. Just enroll it. Just type this thing, IMS Zero Fee program. You will reach a page, sign up on that, and you will get the login credentials. And what you will get in that, you will get some learning content, concept videos, some practice questions, some mocks also. Take a look at that. Why don't you try that in fact and see? If you like it, great. Now you can decide whether you want to come on board or not. When you take these things, you will also get to know where you are currently standing. So at least when you will talk to the counselor or a mentor, you will know, acha, this is where I am standing. Now you guide me. What should I do? Very, very interesting thing. Definitely go by that. And that's all. All the very best for your CAT 2025 preparation. I'll see you in one of the great B schools next year.